I'm Catherine. I own the gallery, and we originally had an artist talk scheduled tonight at 6:30 with Lyric Joplin, who is the artist over here on this wall, but she's sick tonight. So, in her place, we are going to invite Andy Harrison, who is playing music tonight for us, to talk about his creative process. Before I hand the mic over to Andy, I want to thank our wonderful food artist slash caterer, Dave Clark from Simply Elegant Food and Events, and remind you that he has a full service catering business, and if you have any catering needs, please remember Dave. I'm just going to pass around some of his business cards. So thank you, Dave.
Yes.
For the food.
Yay. Thank you.
So I'd like to introduce Andy Harrison. Andy Harrison is the world's leading artist in the field of transformational rock. And you're asking, what is transformational rock? Well, it's music that empowers. And Andy's going to talk to us about that tonight. And he's going to talk about his creative process, writing music, recording music. Andy is a national recording artist who has released 19 CDs. He's had 3 nationally charted singles and performs all original music here in the Portland area and beyond. Andy has also written a book called Grow Happy, the 5 Transforming Steps of Lasting Happiness. We're going to have this available here at the gallery. He also has CDs for sale and electronically if you like the music you've been hearing tonight. And Andy is also currently booking house concerts. So I'm going to send around some flyers and you can read more about house concerts if you'd like to book on one with him. He's going to tell you a little bit more about that. So I'm going to hand it over to Andy.
Thanks for being here, you guys. Thanks, Catherine. I just want to say that this is a brand new thing because normally it's an artist from the gallery that talks, and she invited me to do this. So we're trying something new. I do music, but it's an art. So I'm excited to talk about what my process is, and thanks for being here. So yeah, I've played music since I was, a long time, since I was about 6. But really it started for me when I was 11. And I started to learn how to play guitar. And I was just picking up a few chords. I had maybe 3 chords or something that I learned. And when I was sitting up in my bedroom, this is in Pennsylvania, I was playing, I was like 11 years old, playing through these 3 chords. And I had this really, what I would call a transformational experience. It was like this profound creative experience that I had never had anything like this before, where I was actually playing the chords, and all of a sudden I could actually hear a completed song, not in my head, but actually outside of my body. I could actually hear the completed song as I was playing these chords, and all I had to do was, I didn't hear, it had words and a melody and everything that went with the chords I was playing, and all I had to do was just write it down, and it took about 10 minutes and there was a completed song, and it wasn't even like I wrote it, it was just like, it was actually, I could hear it like I was hearing the radio. It was that weird. And it felt, during the whole process, it felt like I was just in this magical place where anything was possible. It felt like I was connected to everything. And it was like so different than every other part of my day and days back then. And that kept happening, like the next months, maybe 6 months. Every time I'd sit down with my guitar, that same thing would happen. And then I'd go back to my normal day and I would feel not that great, and come back to this great, just amazing feeling in this amazing creative space. And so I got really curious about, what is that? Why don't I feel that way all the time, right? And so that got me really excited to, of course, learn more about music and keep writing, but also to really study happiness and what the creative process of life and how we might be able to have that kind of experience. I wanted it for myself, and then what do other people know about that, and how can I share that with people? And so I'm not going to keep going on, but there's basically what this culminated in as an adult is really that exploration of all that. I kept writing songs that I've written about probably 2,000 songs so far because of that effortless process. I lost it for a while and then got it back, you know. I started to doubt myself heavily in my teenage years, and it took forever to write a song, and then I rediscovered how to do that. And also just studying a lot about happiness and the science behind that and spiritual systems and all of that stuff. So it kind of culminated in writing songs about happiness and about what gets in the way of our happiness and what we might be able to do to live happier if we want to, and what are our choices there. And so that's what came about as far as transformational rock grew out of that idea. It's like, what do I really love to do? My favorite thing to do is write songs, right? And then what would be the one thing that I would change in the world if I had a chance? And it's really to help people to be happier. So I really see my mission as far as writing music now is really just to help kind of make it easier for people to choose to be happy if they want to. And I think songs are a great way to do that because, you know, especially popular music, there's catchy songs, tunes that get stuck in your head. They've already done a lot of research on how well it helps people memorize things. And I just think if we get the right thing stuck in our head, we have a lot more choice about remembering that, you know, if we're ever in a spot where we want to choose more happiness. So that's kind of been my passion for the last 10 years since I kind of really, I would say I coined the phrase transformational rap. And the process is, for me, as far as what I go through, is I will write a whole bunch of songs. I used to write every day for years and years, and I would just write at least one song a day, sometimes 3, and just write a bunch of songs usually, and then I'll go back and pick like the best, like one out of, it usually ends up being about 1 song out of 3 that I end up recording. So there's a lot of songs that I'll never probably play again, but there's a lot from that. I just get the best songs, and then I record all the instruments. I play almost every instrument on the records. Catherine, since I've met her 7 years ago, started singing on my music as well, so she does a lot of the background vocals. And so then put all the tracks in a recording device. I use something called Pro Tools. It's a recording software, and then go through the process of mixing those together. So once the individual tracks are laid down, then you mix everything together. If you don't know much about music mixing, it's just everything is recorded on an individual track, and then there's a process where you blend everything together and get the right volumes for everything, add different effects, however you like it to sound. And then from there, I've put out a bunch of CDs. I think 19 was this last year, or 19th one. And then we play it as a band. I have my favorite band in the whole world. Catherine's part of that. And Mark Newton, our drummer. We play in the area and up in Seattle a lot. And we are in the process right now of building a house concert network of people who really like what we're doing and connect with that idea of transformation through music, and to play in their homes on a donation basis. And so if anybody's excited about that, or you know anybody who might be, I think you've got a flyer there. And so we're excited. That's kind of the next part of our journey as a band, is to explore that and connect with people that way. So any questions? Or I'm brand new to this, so I don't know if I missed anything.
What is inspiring you right now when you are writing songs? Just like in the last year.
Well, actually, this has been a rare year for me because I have, on purpose, not written. I think I wrote maybe 2 songs by accident. No, actually, that's not true. I did spend about a week writing some songs this year, but on purpose. I usually write pretty much every day normally, or like 4 or 5 days a week has been my pattern. But I've kind of wanted to focus on some other things like business this year, so I've on purpose stopped writing just to be able to focus more on that. So I don't think there hasn't been much that's been inspiring me to write.
That's awesome. No, you're supposed to say you, dear. You were inspiring me.
She already knows that. Yeah. Any other questions?
When you write, do you like keep a journal, or do you write the music out or the lyrics out, or both?
It happens all sorts of different ways.
Okay.
Yeah. so it can happen at any point, you know. But usually, if I'm doing it every day, I'll sit down. Like now, piano is really great. I love to write with piano now. I used to do everything on guitar, and sometimes I do. The piano is great because you can really hear the melodies and really easily know what all your choices are, really. And so I'll sit down and I'll either already have an idea for a lyric, or already have written a whole lyric, or just get the lyrics will come as the melody.
I'm just
Yeah.
curious, in your pursuit of happiness and your, inquest into that area, what did you think was your obstacle that you've overcome? And, because we live in kind of a negative world right now, actually, I was watching the news with the coronavirus and everything, and it was just like so panic, and I know that I sent my husband to Costco to do a errand for me, and Costco was like bought out. Because people were panicking, and and I can see being proactive, but I just felt it was like over the top. And so, like, what would be your number one thing for that pursuit of happiness, or do you have anything that is number one?
Well, that changes over time,
Yeah.
and gets clearer, and sometimes not clearer, and then back to
Yeah.
clear. For today, it changes every day.
Yeah.
I will tell you, is about
Just having a
being
little
able to
artist
say, I'm gonna have fun no matter how this thing shows up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So the more you can say that, in my opinion, the happier you can be. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it does to me.
You can take a look at that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that book. I bought another book that's similar to that.
All right, well, thank you, Andy.
Thanks for having me.